OP wife's 34, he is 35. His wife has been having an affair for 3 months on with a man at work. They've been together for 5 years other than a 7-month breakup after their first year. They got back together, dated, got engaged, and married. They've been married 2 years. He's successful, good-looking, fit, and stable. They bought a house last fall thanks to him working 2 jobs. He has had trust issues in the past after his ex cheated on him twice. A big reason he married his wife is that he considered her the most trustworthy person he had ever met. She has a rather severe untreated anxiety disorder. It led to their first breakup and has made things hard many times. They had probably the worst winter of their lives. They've been trying to have children for 2 years but are having major problems. This winter was a failed uterus surgery for her, IVF round, which is extremely hard to take, almost complete failure to produce viable embryos. Their dog nearly died. He was working 2 jobs, nearly every day, rarely seeing sunlight or having days off. He thought this spring they would reconnect and heal. COVID was ending and they could enjoy their house finally. About a month ago he really started to notice a problem. They had had a hard winter and were already distant, but now it was worse. Their relationship was always based on communication, and he was always the one to get her through hardships. Now, though, she wasn't talking to him. Their already bad physical affair life got worse and she started flat out refusing him. Her excuses made no sense and he knew something big had changed. D-Day, said June 12th, he finally just sat her down and demanded to know what was going on. She said she was questioning everything. He continued to pull more from her. She then said she wasn't in love with him anymore. She still loved him as a person but wasn't in love. He immediately knew. He has seen it time and time again. He had the feeling like someone else is involved. She confirmed. She has feelings for a man at work she's never had for anyone else. She confirmed a man had kissed her a couple months back. He lost it in an upset way. He started to collapse. He asked her to go stay with her dad and she refused. He asked for couples counseling and she refused, saying there's no point. He eventually went for a drive and called someone and had huge breakdown. He didn't sleep that night at all. D-Day +1, she spent the next day at her dad's. OP was extremely upset. OP talked to Wayward for 6 hours, eventually landed on talking to her again to see if there was a chance. He is convinced that she had a major mental breakdown in the winter and the guy at work was there at the right time. He went home to her and asked her if she had anything to say or if anything had changed. She said no. He asked her if they were done. She said maybe. He asked if she wanted a divorce. She said, yes, I want a divorce. He got more from her. They were sneaking around the office having make-out sessions every time they saw each other. They had constant communication for months. When she was beside him in bed, on the couch, driving somewhere, or at the store, she was talking to him. Then the bomb. One morning 3 weeks ago she left early after kissing him goodbye and met him. They had physical affair in the backseat of their car. She said she feels for him something she's never felt for anyone ever before. He is married and has a 3-year-old. OP is currently still not working on a separation, but she finally agreed to stay with family. Last Sunday night was the last time she stayed at the house on the couch. Last week was brutal beyond words. OP found a lawyer and contacted the real estate agent. If this was how it was going to be, he needed out of SAP. He had his first 2 panic attacks of his life. This past Sunday he was in the city looking for apartments. He hated everything about them. He was extremely upset and had another breakdown in his car. He started texting her saying he knows she loved him. He knows she was happy. Why did she run when it got hard instead of trying to fix? The message back changed everything. I do love you. I was happy. I don't know why I ran. I am so lost. Reconciliation possible. So, he had her come over to the house to talk. She was upset and remorseful. They talked a lot. They got physically intimate. Opus essentially laid out how they could move forward. She has to be 200% in trying to fix this. She has to fix this. He won't. She needs to be desperate for him to take her back and doing everything she possibly can. They both go to separate therapy. She gets proper care and possibly medication for her anxiety. She can never see him or speak to him again. She has to quit her job and find a new one. They go to couples therapy at some point. She fully accepts that he could decide at any moment that he can't handle it and he'd leave. The huge question's not really looking for answers to these necessarily. Just putting them out there. Will he ever trust her again? Will he ever get the images of them together out of his head? Has he given up on her and she's run back to him not having even made a decision herself? If she is forced into one decision, does it mean anything at all? Is it even worth it? She has huge difficulties with affection and intimacy, things he needs in abundance. Can he continue to live without them if she can't get that fixed? If they split, he will eventually heal and move on. He may be changed forever, but he has a lot to offer someone else. It's almost impossible to see, but one day he'd be able to move on. Finding a connection is hard, of course, but he wouldn't lack of options. Update, they're starting IC and talking more. She's made a 180 and ended things with AP this past Monday. She says she'll do anything to fix this. She's still staying at her dad's. Thank you for reading. He knows it sounds so ridiculous to say now, but she truly was the sweetest person he'd ever known. The shock is absolute through her entire family. No one can believe she is capable of such a thing. It honestly just seems completely insane. Thanks for the responses, everyone. WW tells him that her AP told his wife about the affair already. Apparently, his BS is unwilling to separate and wants to fix. They have not initiated any separation or even found lawyers. They're apparently on vacation together with their child and have been since D-Day. The day they got together and talked that lead OP to decide to try for R, he looked at her phone and AP was still trying to convince her to leave OP for him. So, he knows AP hadn't ended it. She ended it with him then. To answer other questions, she won't see him at work likely for months. AP was going into the office on purpose to see her and doesn't not normally go in at all. She'll be looking for a new job regardless. WW says she was lost in an unfeeling fog after a traumatic winter. Even her anxiety disorder faded into nothingness. During the week apart, she talked to everyone she could about it, which then culminated with her and Opus talking face to face. This is when the unfeeling fog disappeared, her anxiety skyrocketed, and she realized she had to try to save her marriage. Responder comment, I'm still troubled by this. Or at least it seems like a niggling detail that should be explored a bit more. Can you say more about it? It sounds like you took on your shoulders the initial breakup. But was that really the case? Maybe your WW just isn't very good at being in a stable relationship, while you are. Original poster, she was reeling from a previous relationship where her ex-BF was trying to sue her for money from her house she owned with her dad. Most of their first year was characterized by this, and it essentially destroyed their new relationship. Opus felt she wasn't ready to be with him and ended it. During the break, she cleaned up the mess with the ex, found her own place to live, and pulled herself together to a more independent person while they were apart. They eventually got back together and married a couple years later. About confronting the other man. A confrontation is the kind of thing that gets people stabbed. OP wants to figure out his situation, not involve himself in theirs. He has asked her for the name of the other BS. She's resisting. Not a good sign. This was the first thing he has asked for to build trust. She hasn't responded in 20 minutes. She got off work at that time, but sending a text is simple and quick. She says the OBS emailed her 3 weeks ago after her AP told her. So, OP asked for the name. Next, OP will ask to see the emails. She told OP other betrayed spouse's name and OP has found her. It's funny cause if she had just told him right away, he wouldn't have bothered contacting the OBS. Now he feels like he has a reason to. Reader comment, presumably she is giving you full electronic transparency. Can't you just search for the email yourself from her account? You shouldn't have to ask for anything at this point. Original poster, they are living apart and not seeing each other, so he doesn't have access to her phone or anything. For the first time since D-Day, he thinks he need to get drunk. He didn't do anything stupid last night. Is starting to feel they should sell the house and live separately. Is afraid the house is clouding things. If they can heal and find their way back together with therapy after giving up their dream home, then that could actually be real. If they stay here, he may always wonder if she just stayed for the stability and comfort. She's extremely worried he'll end up leaving her anyways. This is while he's worried she'll go back to him. How do they even start to find middle ground between those? Reader comment, we are talking about the same woman, right? The woman who recently fell madly in love with someone else, wanted a divorce from OP, haha, yes, there's been quite the 180. Original poster, he thinks she's really going to have to transition out of worrying about herself. He thinks she's focused on the victim mentality of what will happen to me. Will he be alone forever? Right now, they likely won't make much progress until she can get past that. He understands the feeling, but in this case it's selfish and doesn't show real remorse except for how it affects her. Her mental state is completely destroyed. She's nearly unable to function. She's drinking and using sleeping pills every night. She's not exercising or researching or talking or anything. Reader comment, if you have not told her about this site, please do not. It's not going to help her, and you will be giving up a safe place to seek advice. You want her to seek out help. There are plenty of books or other sites she can turn to. Giving her this information is you being a KISA again. She already knows and is likely reading everything. They thought the Wayward section would help as well as all the reading recommendations. Original poster, hi everyone, thank you for all your responses and advice. They got together today and are selling the house and separating. Maybe you'll see him on the other forums for healing and moving on. On Sunday they got together and talked. She still doesn't know what to do or the best way forward. She wants to get proper care and remedy her mental illness but can't face dealing with his trauma from the affair at the same time. So, they agreed to separate. That's when he posted above about that. She hopes beyond anything that in a few months they can start dating each other again and build things back. On Monday a coworker of hers died and she was upset about it. She called OP and he calmed her down. She started crying about losing him if they separate. They agreed then to wait to list the house until after their therapy appointments Wednesday eve. After their therapy appointments they talked on the phone. He explained how his therapist was insistent that they stay together and work on this as a team as a marriage should be. OP said separation would be a disaster for their chances of a future together. They still love each other after all. She apparently gained nothing from her therapist. A huge disappointment. She was apparently told she should do what feels right, which is absolutely ridiculous for a therapist to say. She's in shock over what she's done and what her life has become. She is absolutely not capable of knowing what feels right. She asked for the night to think on it. OP knows he'll get blasted here for still thinking they have a chance. He knows everyone thinks she's evil. What she did was evil, no doubt, but she's still the person he married and they're somewhere under the mental illness. That said, the betrayal here is so absolutely overwhelming and she's adding abandoning his to work on herself on top of it. She thinks she can send him back to the city to live alone in an apartment and wait for her to be ready to love him again. Insanity. Reader comment, have you informed the other man's wife? Original poster, no, as long as the affair is over, he's not getting involved in the other marriage. WW is insistent she knows anyways. It is appalling that she thinks after she broke your heart and destroyed your life, you should sit and chill until she feels like dating you again. Original poster, she's convinced they'll be able to get back together after she fixes herself. But this is abandonment of their marriage after he has said he's willing to try. The chances of fixing after that are extremely slim. Together they have a tiny chance. Apart, he's not sure if she even knows if she wants to be with him. She says she does, but if that were true, she'd stay and work on it. If she doesn't even know that much, then why would he wait? Reader comment, I take it from what you've reported that there has been no discussion at all, nor any proactive steps from your WW to take an STD test. Write a timeline out for you. Sign up for a polygraph. Read how to help your spouse heal from your affair and write down a plan for you on how she will implement the book's recommendations. Provide you with proof positive of no contact. Turn over her phone to you and access to all social media and email or other communications. Original poster, no, nothing. She'll barely talk to OP, keeps saying she's afraid to lose him but says she needs to solve her disorder and get well on her own so they can be together in the future. Reader comment, this affair is ongoing. She is in the process of, or will be soon, testing you out as plan B. Original poster, he knows it seems like that, but she did end it with him and has told him every detail he wanted to know, which was everything. She's in full frozen shutdown and can't function to do anything. Reader comment, if the wanted her, he would have stepped up on your D-Day. Does want her and was still trying until she ended it. Original poster, she says she broke his heart, and he likely doesn't want to talk to her ever again anyways. Update, they're done. They're listing the house as a P and is finding somewhere else to live. They'll split time at the house in the meantime. Lawyer is going to start the agreement soon. Is so completely broken. He has sacrificed so much for years to build this life. It's gone and there's nothing he can do about it. Back to square one. Stolen. Those years of his life working 2 jobs to pay for the wedding, the down payment, and the mortgage have been stolen from him. Prime years in his early 30s. They intend to have an extremely amicable separation. She at least feels enough guilt not to try to take extra money. They've only been married 2 years, so it would be very little and be eclipsed by the legal fees required to fight for it. She just wants half of the house sale and that's it. Small silver lining in all this that he won't be paying his cheater for the pleasure of her cheating on him. The housing market has been insane where they live, and they will do quite well on the sale. Money won't be an issue as he restarts his life, at least. He has decided to move back to somewhere familiar. He can move on after his year lease but felt he needed something he knew to help ground him through this. He knows the building, the people that work there, and everything to expect. Less unknowns this way. He knows there's enough space and he lived there happily before. Time to pick up the pieces of himself and take it one day at a time. He feels like he just doesn't understand the world or his place in it anymore. He doesn't want anything to do with somewhere that this could happen. He was so sure and trusted her so much. How could he possibly trust ever again? Reader comment, well, he's sure it's no surprise to anyone here. She still has feelings for a P. Time to go. Original poster, stable will be questionable for a while, he thinks lol. Yes, he definitely needs to come to terms with the fact that he made a very bad choice. Mental illness is no joke and her unwillingness to deal with it led them to where they are today. There were signs all the way, but he put his head down and worked even harder to help her through it. In the end, not only has she done something beyond horrible, she is, as a person, beyond horrible. She stood in front of everyone they know only 2 years ago and swore she'd do anything possible to preserve their union and stay loyal. She knew he had been cheated on before and was haunted by it but did it anyways. Not only did she do it, but she also maintained the lies for 2.5 months, requiring thousands of individual choices and lies. No mental illness can explain away that. These are hallmarks of a very up human being. Not at all who he thought she was. The woman he married is long gone. The person that's here now is a selfish monster whose actions have destroyed 2 marriages and completely broken the person she pledged to love forever. Adulterers are society's scum. Some of the lowest of the low because they seed disorder, distrust, and pain wherever they go. Now she'll continue her cycle of self-destruction by furthering a relationship with a married man who has a 3-year-old and a wife who will likely destroy him in court. WW will continue to be a homewrecker and disaster until she hits rock bottom and realizes what she's done to her amazing life they had built. There is no positive future that can be created by two cheaters. She'll wake in the middle of the night one day and fear will come over her. She can't trust him, can she? Never can. He has avoided mentioning talking to the OBS because his WW is likely reading this, and he didn't want to give warning. OP talked to OBS today. OBS knew everything OP knows. She actually caught him by looking through his phone a couple weeks before his WW confessed. Everything his WW told him was true. There was nothing more, at least. They talked today. She's pretty effed up about everything. Separation is a go and his moving in 2 weeks. So, it was June 20th that WW and Opus got together and decided to try for reconciliation. He saw on her phone that day messages from AP demanding and begging her to choose him. As far as he can tell from the OBS, this was after he had promised his wife he was staying no matter what for her and their kid. Clearly that was a lie as well. That evening AP called his WW and she ended it on the phone. WW and OP have still been in contact this week. When OP saw WW yesterday, it was 2 hours after he spoke to the OBS, and his WW already knew about it. WW told OP to stop emailing her because he was upsetting her. Unbelievable. OP warned the OBS his WW still has feelings for her WH. One of the most brutal parts of all this is it was preventable. OP truly believes that a little bit better mental health care this winter, some communication in couples counseling, and a bit of willpower on her part, they wouldn't be here right now. Instead, it's like a car crash in slow motion that he can't do anything about. He's moving next week and it looks like WW is insisting on staying at the house at least some of that time. This should be awful. Update: you all were right about absolutely everything. The affair never ended. OP saw everything on her phone last night after a conversation with her about how she wanted to start over in the future when she had fixed her illness. They never stopped. She never stopped lying. The house sold last night and they got a good price. At least he'll have that for the start over. Moving day is today and the separation agreement is being drafted. OP hoping this can be done quickly. They were married only a short time and WW has said she doesn't want anything other than half the house sale. That's good. His pension and income from a 2-year marriage would be pennies compared to what they got for the house anyways. Just hope she sticks to that. Only other hitch is they have frozen embryos she's just not ready to destroy yet. She's too mentally ill for him to fathom allowing her to use one. By the way everyone, embryo destruction was written into the legal separation agreement and agreed upon by all parties. He has contacted the lab regarding next steps. He finds it very difficult that no one knows what this feels like. Except for all of you of course. He'd say he came out of shock after he moved out. That's when the real pain began. He had no idea. Self-deletion was a daily thought. He has been on vacation seeing family and that has helped it subside somewhat, but nighttime allows for very little resilience. His actuary looking forward to getting back to work. He has been stuck in a holding pattern just dwelling on this for more than 2 months now. Some routine would be helpful, he thinks. He has been thinking it's important to remember just how marginal a life their wayward life. It's sad and pathetic, really, that someone's experience of life is so shallow that they search for happiness in the butterflies felt from physical affair in a car with a married man. There's nothing real, deep, or sustainable about that. Flitting from one thing to the next chasing happiness is self-destructive. Real happiness is built and maintained within them and their relationships. You can chase forever, but until you can build, it'll